Hello again. 1.1.10. Recognise his or her personal role and responsibility in ensuring compliance with all relevant regulations and requirements for safe and effective working. So, breaking that down, if we think about the behaviour associated with it, healthcare chaplains will, for example, ensure compliance with health and safety regulations, ensure compliance with GDPR and other relevant confidentiality policies, maintain administrative records and reports in accordance with local protocols. So we've already had a bit of a look at record keeping in an earlier competence. But regarding this one, knowledge for this is also in the code. This is about how you go about working safely and effectively. But it's also, there's more technical detail about this one. In particular, compliance with GDPR is essential. And because it's fairly new legislation, it's quite tricky to be really explicit about how it operates in daily practice. And so organizations have been going through a lot of head scratching to get it sorted. So it's important that you understand what GDPR is. The reasons organizations are so concerned is that the regulation itself is the toughest privacy and security law in the world. It imposes obligations onto organizations anywhere, as long as they target or collect data related to people in the EU. Now, the regulation was put into effect in 2018, and the GDPR will levy harsh fines against those who violate its privacy and security standards, with penalties reaching into the tens of millions of euros. So you can understand why organisations are rightly concerned about getting this right. So to start with, we're going to ask you to find all the relevant health and safety documents, particularly GDPR, and reference them here so that you can find them later. But then we're going to have you thinking about safe and effective practice, because that's what this is actually about. So without overthinking it, see if you can write down what safe and effective working looks like in the next box. The key task for this module is to think about what these terms actually mean. So I've described the key principles underpinning GDPR there: lawfulness, purpose limitation, data minimization, accuracy, storage limitation, integrity, confidentiality, and accountability. So that's all about the processing, collection, and storage of data. And it talks about processing data subject, personal data, personally identifying data in such a way, the data controller. So it's important to understand the terms. So back to definition, you need to know what personal data is, data subject is, what a data controller is, what a data processor is, and what data processing is. So they're all defined in this document here, which is linked to for you here. What I want you to do with all that is have a think about how that could actually be positive in relation to safe and effective practice, because most of the literature naturally focuses on GDPR and the tendency for massive fines as a function of data breaches. But that was actually never the point of the legislation in the first place. It was to keep everybody safe and to protect the individual. So can you identify the underpinning principles that generated the regulation in the first place, and then have a think about how these might actually improve safety and efficacy? And to focus that down, think about consent. This is how they describe consent in GDPR. What are the potential benefits of obtaining freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous consent? Have a think about that in relation to safe and effective practice. Obviously, there are no absolutely correct answers here, just trying to get you to think of the positives and to create an argument based on the principles underpinning the regulation rather than the specifics of the regulation itself. Okay, there are some useful references there if you're interested, but see if you can just manage this by yourself. Find your own literature. It's a tricky one. Okay, see you soon.